So here now, this year, monsoon came a little bit late, but it came now, a few days ago. So it is raining quite a lot. Therefore, it's quite chilly outside. And I'm wearing quite thick mazen. You may think, he might be crazy wearing quite thick zen in South India this time. But in South India, when the raining season starts, then, the weather, particularly in the evening and, the morning is quite chilly. So that's why I'm wearing this. Okay. So in terms of the virus, it is now it's slowing down, though in the countryside it might be spreading, but overall it is slowing down, and we are still in a very strict lockdown. State government had introduced, and so it will continue. I think 21st of this month, then we will see. I mean, they are relaxing a little bit, but still they want to keep, the state government wants to keep the restriction, which is quite good for us, because less Indian people can, come to the monastery and to taking photos and so forth. And so, in the monastery, we are all right. We are okay. We are okay. And so that is the last brief information, if people who are wondering about what's happening in the monastery. So, that is the situation. Yeah, as I mentioned, before, though this COVID-19, caused huge problem all over the world, many different directions. Personally, I had one sort of positive that I got from this. That is, I don't need to travel that much. So I can just stay in the monastery, the month after month, which is good, because with this job, need to go to so many different meetings, and the long traveling is very, very exhausting. And from the meetings, not that much meaning, just blah, 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 and then sign a paper, and that's it. And we don't think when that is going to, implement. But that is stopped last year and this year, which is positive for me. Okay, yeah. So it seems now most of the people are here, and we will start this gathering. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Everyone, and then ask you to unmute yourself, please.
Oh, yeah. We will start the session saying the refuge and the bodhicitta lines. And by saying these 4 lines with the strong and clear mind of taking refuge in 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and holding the altruistic awakened mind, bodhicitta, as a part of our motivation to participate in this gathering. Also, it is part of our training our minds, to have these two very, very important and helpful mental states, as a follower of the teachings of the Buddha, able to hold mind taking refuge in Buddha as one's own teacher, mentor, or Buddhas as our teachers, mentors, and Dharma, the teachings, as a application, means and methods to apply in our everyday lives, to be experienced, to be actualized, and Sangha as one's own spiritual friends, supporters, being able to hold that kind of mind, something very, very, soothing and very, very, helpful. Then holding that mind, not certain occasions, not something when we have difficult time, when we are facing difficulties, not in that, all the time, good time or difficult time, all the time, being able to hold that mind as a follower of the teachings of the Buddha. And part of our this, the text that we are reading, the prayer to be born in Sukhavati, in Pure Land, this beautiful prayer, the actual, that makes sure we will have fortunate rebirth after this life, will be some of these mental states: the mind taking refuge and the altruistic awakened mind, the everyday and every occasion. And by doing that, when difficult times comes, and particularly the end of this life, definitely going to come, when that comes, due to our training, due to our hard work, if we are able to hold this mind taking refuge in three jewels at the last part of this life's mental event, as at that mind, then I'm sure we'll have a fortunate rebirth. If we are able to hold the bodhicitta, the altruistic awakened mind, at the last part of our, this life, just before stopping our last breathing, if we are able to hold this mind, regardless of whatever the things are going around, then I'm quite sure that we'll have fortunate rebirth. And that is what here, quite often we talk about. There are very powerful practices saying consciousness, transferring the consciousness. And I'm sure, those powerful practices will do that. But for our level, and when I say our, in my level, if I'm able to hold these two mental states at the last my breathing of this life, then I will feel very, happy, and sort of feel very confident, there will be a fortunate rebirth, my next life. So that is something. To do that, we need to train our minds, all the time. And this is, part of the training, when we come together, to every time to start this, saying these lines and, holding these two important minds. So that is, also part of this. And also the second very important mind is the altruistic awakened mind, bodhicitta. No doubt, we all have degrees of good heart, degrees of warm heart, our, without whether we have trained or not, we are able to express that kind of warm heart and good heart to the others. But among the many layers, many levels of good heart or warm heart, this particular the altruistic mind, which has these two aspirations: aspiration to benefit, to work, aspiration to work for the sake of all living creatures, and aspiration to do that, to fulfill that, then aspiration to experience oneself, to experience the full enlightenment. The mind, the altruistic mind, which has these two aspirations, not not going to happen accidentally. Our current mind is not going to turn into that kind of altruistic mind accidentally, or just, as His Holiness says very often, just merely prayer. These two, the altruistic mind, which has these two aspirations, will take place within ourselves. Our current mind turn into or transform into that kind of altruistic mind if we put effort, if we really step by step, bit by bit, train our mind, the techniques some of these great teachers have taught, such as the equalizing and exchanging oneself with others by Shantideva, very, very, what's called thoroughly, detailedly, and in depth explained how to do that. Or some other method like 7-point cause and effect, like Nagarjuna, Asanga, and then later Atisha, who came to Tibet, taught both techniques. And these great Tibetan, teachers from all different traditions have, for many hundreds of years, for many generations to pass down. And so we have learned this. We have received many teachings from many great masters. And what we have to do, we have to really, need to put effort, with the effort, with the what's called, this some kind of continuation, not just off, on and off, not in that manner, but very in a consistent consistently, but with the gentle, with the gentle, but with the continuation, step by step. Then no doubt, our current mind will transform into this very amazing altruistic mind. As Shantideva has said very clearly in his first chapter, that is the essence. That is the essence of the teachings of the Buddha. Marji Nyungu Chungwei, like the, like the butter churning the milk. The essence is the butter. Similar to that, among all these different teachings that the Buddha had given, like the cream, the essence is, having that mind, turning our current mind, transforming into that mind. So that is here the second important mind to be held at the beginning of the gathering. So we will say those 4 lines together, and hold those 2 minds. Sanje Chedan Tsogi Chonam La Changju Pando Dani Jamso Che Dagi Jinso Jibe Tsonam Ji Dola Penje Sanje Tu Sanje Chedan Tsogi Chonam La Changju Pando Dani Jamso Che Dagi Jinso Jibe Tsonam Ji Dola Penje Sanje Dobara Sho. Sanje Chedan Tsogi Chonam La Changju Pando Dani Jamso Che Dagi Jinso Jibe Tsonam Ji Dola Penje Sanje Dobara Sho. Oh, yeah. So part of our cultivating a calm, clear, and focused mind, we can do a silent meditation, but the last, since there are lots of, sufferings going around, all over the world due to COVID-19 or many other reasons, and also part of, the training our mind to enhance compassion, the part of the bodhicitta to enhance compassion. We will say Charisic mantra, the 6-syllable mantra together, and you can imagine or visualize Avalokiteshvara, Charisic, above your head or in front of you. If you are going to visualize above your head, then Charisic and you are facing the same direction. But if you are going to visualize Charisic in front of you, then you are facing the Chenrezig. Chenrezig is facing towards you, and in the aspect of either four-arm Chenrezig or thousand-arm Chenrezig or another aspect of Chenrezig, there are many different forms, but in a the nature or which is embodiment of all the great compassion of the Buddhas, manifest or into that, the form, into that deity, Chenrezig. And from while we are saying the mantra, from the Chenrezig, multicolored or your private color of light rays, goes to all the directions, to all entire universe, in the aspect of that multicolored rays or light, in the nature of union of compassion and wisdom, because this 6 syllable, the represents that union of compassion and wisdom, and reach that reaches to all living beings, and particularly living beings who are going through difficult times. And by reaching that, the lights, which is the nature of compassion and wisdom, imagine, although it's just in a form of imagine, but still it is good to do, imagine all the difficulties, sufferings, the pains are purified, pacified. So do that if you can. Otherwise, just simply focus on the mantra. Your mind focus on the mantra to experience a calm, clear, and a focused mind. Oh, yeah. Om Mani Oh, yeah. Yeah. So our reading last week, we started from the second part of the text. The first part of the main body of the text is really, aiming or praying, to be born in Sukhavati. And then to be born in Sukhavati, then to do the activities, not just to be born in Sukhavati, but also being born in Sukhavati, then have received all those meaningful, amazing teachings from all those bodhisattvas, those, the Amitabha and bodhisattvas, and then, going into, going into all, all the places where help and support are needed. So that is the first part of the main body of the text. And then we saw last reading, there are two verses, like a summary of that first part. Then the second part of the main body of the text, saying, just in case, if I'm unable to be born in Sukhavati, but may I able to do these things, not only this lifetime, but the coming lifetimes. And that is what here that we have started last Sunday. So today our reading, the last Sunday we read those two verses of summary of the first part of the main body. Then there are three short paragraphs that we read, saying, should I not attain such exalted state, may I in every life incarnate solely. So we read that one, then the next 1.5 line verse, then another 1.5 line, the paragraph saying, in every each existence, may I gain the memory that records perfectly all my past lives. So we have finished up to there. Up to here is very much like a, all the like in the Lam Rim teachings, gradual gradual path to enlightenment. To really starting part of the teaching is to make sure to have this what's called the favorable life, favorable for the to continue the Dharma practice that we have started in this lifetime, and that is what clearly mentioned in the one of those the previous what you call the paragraph. So now today's our reading, will start with the training our mind in the Lam Rim terminology, training our mind in the middling scope, in the middling scope, in the sense training our mind to really to see the shortcoming of the samsara, shortcoming of the entire samsaric things, no matter how beautiful they are, no matter how valuable they are, no matter how attractive they are, no matter how useful they are, as long as if they are samsaric things, samsaric in the sense, they're coming into being, they're coming into existence, is through the affliction and the negative karma. And so then, that is some samsaric thing. So seeing and understanding all the samsaric things are, one way or another, immediately or in the long term, going to bring us difficulties. no matter how, what you call, as I mentioned, beautiful, useful, helpful, valuable, attractive, whatever, sooner or later, long here or in the long term, will bring the difficulties. And that is what, the training our mind in the middling scope, because need to train our mind step by step by step, and in the initial scope, or in the small scope, we need to train our mind to see the, what you call some of these lives, those, samsaric things are, although they might be helpful, we may need them, they may have a value, but nevertheless, they are, samsaric things. They are, going to bring directly or indirectly difficulties. That is the training in the, in the small scope, And so anyway, so today's our reading is mainly in the middle scope part. So first I'll read in Tibetan, then I will read in English. Yawa tamjetu siva tada nimbu mewa tongshin. Tarbe yun denji yitoke sambe gune langde. Jomden deji lepor sungwe chedu wala rabdo chungwa cheba yuji. Rabdo chungwe cenayang nidong chamwe jang magoba. Tsudimki pungu tarchimba zebe gone. Changju chenpo nyeba gelong metrukpa tabur yuji. So these two, what you call the paragraphs that starts in every life, may I see all existence as being without essence. So all existence, as I just mentioned, talking about existence in the sense, the things in events, the coming into being, they're coming into existence, is due to, the afflictions, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, and motivated or led by these three poisons, the actions which are led by these three poisons, and the result of all those things are, that's what here talking about. All existence in the sense, all existence, the things and events, come into being due to these two, affliction and the karma. And then it says, as being without essence. Without essence, ningbo meba in Tibetan, it says, ningbo meba. Ningbo, essence. So here, some of those things may useful, may helpful, we may need to, for our survival, for our, well-being, for our, the social networks and so on and so forth, but still be able to see, they don't have the what you call long-term benefits to us. Therefore, not to cling on them, not to crave, crave to them. And that is what here, the saying that as being without essence, be driven by a mind captivated by virtues of nirvana. So seeing all the samsaric things, I'm going to use that term, is easier, or seeing all the samsaric things, though they might be useful, helpful, necessary, so on and so forth, but in the long term, they don't have that much essence for us. And having that kind of mind will help us to our minds to, to 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 lead or to lead towards liberation. Tarbe yundengi yitokpa. Tarbe yundengi yitokpa. It says, and driven by mind, captivated by the virtues. So, in other words, tarbe in Tibetan, there's a beautiful words in Tibetan. Tarbe yunten. Tarbe yunten, it means the qualities or the features of the liberation. Tarpa, liberation. The features, those qualities of the liberation, such as ultimate peace. If ourselves are completely free from dukkha and origins of dukkha, then there is a genuine, unchanging peace within us. There are four features: peace, Shiva, that is in Tibetan, Shiva, peace. Chanumba, tremendously what you call enrich. That's this when we experience that cessation of suffering and the origins of suffering, which is nirvana, which is liberation, then within our mental state, there is a tremendous sense of fulfillment, enrich, chanumba in Tibetan. When I say that, in Tibetan, that word chanumba is also used in colloquial. When the food is very rich, by either lots of butters and other fruits or anything. So, whatever the reason, I don't know. That Italian Christmas pudding, that black one, which has lots of dry fruit. Why I'm saying that is, at certain time when I was in Jamia, we did a retreat during winter time, just around Christmas or after Christmas, and therefore, arranging the offerings. Quite often, I think Sue may remember that we buy the Christmas pudding, which is extremely and the what you call the shape is nice, but also after offer to the deities, whoever, then when you eat this, that's really extremely rich. And in Tibetan, that's called chanumba. So, in other words, when the liberation is experienced, when the liberation is reached, if we use that, then there's a tremendous sense of, deep sense of fulfillment or satisfaction, and that is chanumba. So the Ningpo Mepa Tongshin, Tarbe Yunden Ki Yitokpa. Two things. Seeing there's no essence in the samsaric things, that's the one thing. On the other hand, one's own mind is very much attracted towards the qualities, towards the great features of the liberation, of the nirvana. That's what here in Tibetan. Here it says captivated. I use the term, the attracted. That may not be a nice word, attracted, but anyway, captivated. So motivated by those two mental states, seeing there's no long-term meaning in the samsaric things, and very much attracted, very much captivated by the qualities of the nirvana or liberation, by these two mental states, then really here it is, the term is used, the in Tibetan, also here in English, saying nirvana, and be ordained into monastic disciplines on excellently taught by the Buddha. So monastic discipline, it is mainly talking about practicing ethics. I mean, here Geshe Tashi very mention a specific monastic, ordained in the monastic, but mainly talking about practicing ethics. At the middling scope, when we are training at the middling scope, the main focus is ethics. Of course, need wisdom, need concentration, but the main focus is ethics. So and that's what here this here excellently taught by the Buddha. In one of the sutra that we recite in the what's called the gathering twice a month, gathering in the monks, fully ordained monks gathering for the confessing the negativities twice a month, one in full moon, one in new moon. And there's 1, 2, 3 sutras to be recited. In one of the sutra, Buddha said, so, they're saying, when I passed away, when I die, when I passed away, or after I passed away, this is your teacher. This refers to the sutra that we are that we recite. So the Buddha clearly stated his teachings are, the teacher. And so that is what here. Excellent. Then the next line that I already read in Tibetan, but now read in English. Once ordained, may I live as the monk Akshobhya. So here, monk Akshobhya, it is not a particular monk's name. It is Akshobhya. I think the translator, I'm sure, knows this. Here, in Tibetan, Mitukpa, Gelong Mitukpa. Gelong Mitukpa, it has Mitukpa, it has a meaning of the immovable, cannot move, cannot change, cannot be disturbed. So once I'm training in ethics, once I'm training in the training in ethics, my mind should not be disturbed or should not be moved by those unethical things, which is very easy, because we are very much get used to do the unethical things, consciously and subconsciously. And this is what he is saying. Once ordained, may I live as a monk Akshobhya. That means ordained monk who his or her the ordained monks or nuns, his or her mind never moved by the unethical things or unethical events. And that is what here monk Akshobhya, who unsuited by the slightest fault. That's what here this meaning is coming from. By the slightest fault, perfected morality and gain great enlightenment. Is this sound disturbing, recording?
The sound isn't too bad, Geshe. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Then I will continue.
Yes.
Because there's rain tomorrow now. And now the ceremonies, almost every single row, on top of row, we have a tin row. It is very interesting. Have a very, very strong cement, concrete, flat row. On top of that, then lots of tin row. Because the same cements are not very good qualities, and they have lots of leaking. So now whenever it rains, the sound sometimes is unbearable. So anyway, that's going on. So that is those two sentences. So here mainly talking about practicing ethics. So we prepare, we think, determine, so even this life, in after this life, if I were not born in the Sukhavati, may I able to do these things, to practice ethics and to keep the ethics very pure. Now the next, first I will read in Tibetan. Shen Kyawa Tamjeto, Kune Nimon Padang, number Changre, Sui Chitawa Shindo, Kundu Chune, Parchimbe Yangwa, Chunam, Sigda, Maluka, Mijeka, Zimbe, Sungusum Soba, Toba, Duji. So this one really, the captures the overall practice in the middling scope. While we are our training rich at the middling scope, then our main training, I'll talk about training ethics, but also our main training here is, to really to see the what are the things, what are the in terms of the activities, in terms of the mental state, what are the constructive virtues, wholesome, be able to see them, able to understand them. And same in terms of the actions, in terms of the mental state, which are the unwholesome, which are the unhealthy, and being able to see, understand, those. And here there's a particular term is used in Tibetan, Gune Nimongpa. Gune Nimongpa, and in English, here translated saying ways of diluted state of mind, ways of diluted states of mind. Gune Nimongpa. In other words, our mental state, our emotions, our thoughts, our actions, which are, unwholesome, which are unhealthy, which are, what you call afflicted, and that's what here, Kune Nyumongpa. And then the other side in Tibetan, Nambara Jangwa. And in English here translated as paths of purification and freedom, Nambara Changwa. So in other words, those positive things, those wholesome things. So in other words, not on a particular this and not a particular that afflictions, the whole unwholesome, but overall, all the unwholesome, unhealthy actions and mental state on the one hand. On the other hand, all the virtues, wholesome, good action. And that is what here, this part of the saying. Furthermore, in every life, having fully comprehended in the sense to understand, to comprehend, to realize the ways of diluted states of mind, all those afflictions, and path of purification and freedom. And that understanding is very, very important. Many of us, we don't understand, from our own experiences, from our own, what's called reflection or analysis. We don't understand that much. What are the, wholesome, what are the unwholesome, what are the deluded, what are the afflictions. We only follow other people have said. These are the delusions, these are the afflictions, these are the unwholesome. We ourselves don't pay that much attention, or we ourselves don't do that much hard work to understand. We just follow our teacher have said, or the friends have said. We read from the others' books. Although that is good in the first step, but that is only the first step. That's only the first step. We must make those assumptions, assuming these are the afflictions, assuming these are the wholesome. Those assumptions need to turn into proper understanding, proper realization. And that's what here said, translated, comprehended. It says in Tibetan, fully comprehended. And that fully, that word is something important. Then may I develop powerful and accomplished Dharani memory to maintain total recall of every word and the meaning of every branch and division of the teachings. That is, the Tsikdam Maluba. So not just the understand, we fully understand, but also we have the best, we have the capacity, or we have the ability, we have the mental capacity able to keep what we have learned, all the details, all the depths, all the, those important points. In Tibetan, it says clearly, the tarchimbe, yangla chö namji, sikdam tön, and here they translated a branch and divisions. In other words, all the details, all the connections, there's one nice expression. I think I have said this before. People who know me, you have heard this from me many times. So if we have a square, if we have a piece of cloth, like a small handkerchief, and if we pull from the one corner of your handkerchief, entire handkerchief comes towards you. If you pull towards you, or if you pull other direction, entire material will come. Although you are pulling from the one corner, but the entire material will come towards you. And that sort of thing, when our learning Dharma and practicing Dharma eventually should become in that kind of manner. Once we think, say, meditate on love or compassion or altruism, that meditation has the ability to pull all the other essence of the teachings, and that is what here, the branches and divisions of the teachings. And there is this particular concentration. In Tibetan, it's called Chugyungi Tinginzin. Chu is the Dharma, Gun is the continuation, Tinginzin is the concentration. A particular concentration to cultivate a particular. Don't ask me, have I done? No, I haven't done, but I've learned from the teachings. So there's a particular concentration to develop in order to hold all the dhammas that we have learned, not only in this lifetime, all the dhammas, teachings that we have learned in the past. And that is what here, this accomplished dharani, memory, that is what talking about, that, that particular, okay, that is, so up to here is really very much, praying or thinking, planning our journey, our spiritual journey, in our spiritual journey. And so far, our today's reading is very much focused on training in the middling scope. That is really very much to see, to understand the faults, the predicaments of the entire samsara, and seeing, understanding that, and also understanding the qualities of the liberation, and due to these mental states, drive us, or lead us to, to practice ethics, and also to understand the entire, what are the virtues to be cultivated and what are the non-virtues to be discarded. And that is what here, so then from here, then it is moving towards, great scope, training with the bodhicitta, with the altruistic awakened mind, training in that level, great scope. In Lam Rim, the term may use great scope. So I'll read in Tibetan first. Rangi ji songwa shindo, shenla tembala, tokwa mebe, poba nambar takwa, toba gyurji. So that, as to really to work for the well-beings of others, to give support for the well-beings of others, then what we need not just those qualities that we have mentioned earlier, understanding all those things, but also we need confidence, self-confidence. We need confidence to reach out to the others. And this is what this paragraph, this prayer is. Furthermore, in every life, may I master and never be apart from the ways of meditative concentration. And sorry, I missed it. May I gain a pure and unhindered confidence to teach them, likewise others. So that is what here, something, when we read, the last time when we are reading the King of Prayer, and therefore, in the prayer, we came across several groups of qualities of the enlightened being. One of the group is called 10 powers. Another group is called for fearlessness. So for fearlessness, minjikpashi, for fearlessness. One of the fearlessness is, to declare or to declare the teachings. There's no fear wherever or whenever or to in front of whom that we want to teach the Dharma without, there's no fear. And this is the training here talking about, this paragraph. May I gain a pure and unhindered confidence to teach them, likewise others. So the confidence is very, very important. If we lack of confidence, then bodhicitta is very, very difficult to enhance, very, very difficult to what you call the move forward. Because in the training and the cultivation of bodhicitta means, what you call the, tackling the self-centered mind, which has been with us, which has been our best friend. Not necessarily that it does good for us, but we see as our best friends for all the time. So to tackle that to our best friends, to say go away, and to make new friends, which is not easy. So therefore need confidence. So this is what here, and the next one, Shen Gyawa Tamje to Pao Goala Sobe, Dingin Zingi Konanda, Shai Mila Sobe, Jenanda, Zudugi Yushavala Sobe, Ombar Shevanam, Tobata, Medewa Jushi. And this one is talking about certain qualities to work for the others, for the work for the well-being of others. So here in English it is translated saying, furthermore, in every life may I master and never be parted from the ways of meditative concentration, such as warrior-like. So warrior-like, this is also a type of concentration. Here the warrior-like in the sense, whatever challenges, whatever difficulties that are faced to work for the sake of others, I will not back down. I will not give in. And that is the meaning of warrior-like concentration, which has that kind of qualities. Never going to give in, never going to back down. Once we start to do for work for the sake of others. And these are the, for example, that is what here, the name of the concentration is written in Sanskrit in here. And then the other qualities, may I, acquire supernatural sight, such as that unhindered by matter. So in other words, to see long distance, to see the, so these are some kind of means or skills to work for others. If we have these skills to understand others' minds, to understand others' feelings, to understand others' the mental dispositions, because many of us, when we approach to work to others, quite often, instead of the receiver to receive the benefits, receiver were hurt by our unskilled and those things. And that is what here, this part of the prayer is really here also mentioned, as well as clairvoyance. Clairvoyance in the sense really to understand others' needs, not clairvoyance in the sense to, to produce some kind of samsaric things, not in that way. Clairvoyance to understand others' mental dispositions, others' needs, and so on and so forth. And that's what here, this part of the, the prayer is, so you receive, cultivate those skills, those qualities, mental strengths, such as understanding others' mental dispositions, understanding others' needs, and so on and so forth, and also confidence. So these are the talking about the qualities or the skills to work for the sake of others. So that is now. Then from here, again, then moving to wisdom. Of course, among the the qualities that or the skills that we need is one of the most important skill is we need wisdom. And here, quite often wisdoms are, wisdoms are listed in four: Sherab, Chewa, Nurwa, Saba, Selva. So, and we'll see coming from this verse, from this, what you call the paragraphs. The first one is, it says, furthermore, in every life may I develop that great wisdom. That's the first one in Tibetan, Sherab Lakchewa, great wisdom. Some people, I'm sure when you are studying in the university or in the school, you may see people have different talent. In English, we use talent or the ability, mental. Some are very quick, but that only very quick to understand, but unable to understand depth. Some people have a little bit slow, but the ability to understand more depth, and so on and so forth. So there are four wisdoms, and this one, the first wisdom is called, in here translated, great wisdom. So sorry, I haven't read. I will read first this in Tibetan. Shena Jawa Tamjeto, Langdorgi Nanumtang, Rangdorgi Genuve, Sherab Lapchewa, Toba Jurji. Gune Numong Padam, Number Changwe, Chashe Tashing Tawanam, Chitawa Shindo, Madeva Genuve, Sherab Salwa Toba Jurji. Mado Patang, Lobar Topatang, Tezumji Samba, Gemma Tadu, Maluba, Gog Nube, Sherab Murua Toba Jurji. Shenji Tsesung Menube, Sunrab Tigdunla, Dugwa Mebe, Jube, Sherab Saba Toba Jurji. So those four wisdoms. First one is great wisdom. Second one is clear wisdom. Third one is swift wisdom. And fourth one is depth wisdom. So those are the four wisdoms. So the first wisdom, when it says, so great wisdom in the sense to really what are the virtues that are need to cultivated, and what are the non-virtues that are need to be that need to be discarded. To understand these details, these things in details, you don't need to rely on very much to others. From your own ability, from your own mental ability, you are able to understand which are the things that are virtues in terms of the mental state, in terms of the actions. These are the virtues. Therefore, I need to enhance them, cultivate them. These are the non-virtues. These are the unwholesome. Therefore, I need to reduce. I need to discard. So to do that, you don't need to rely on that much. Rely on others, explanation, others' guidance. You from your own mental capacity, and that's what here talk about great wisdom. And here it says, furthermore, in every life may I develop the great wisdom in Tibetan, Lapchewa. Lapchewa, Lap. Yeah, Lapchewa. Self here, this is what in English translated, self-reliantly. In others, rangdop, in Tibetan it's rangdop. Rangdop, that means by one's own mental capacity, by one's own mental ability to understand that, rangdop. Self-reliantly and unaided, that's what here, two syllables of Tibetan words. In English, there are 4 syllables. So in Tibetan, rangdop, and here in English, self-reliantly and unaided, is able to separate right from wrong, which I already mentioned that. So that is the first wisdom, Sherab Lapchewa. Okay, and so I will read one, then we'll leave it here. Then the next one is very clear wisdom. May I develop the clear wisdom that that unerringly separates to the subtleties, subtlety degrees, undiluted states of mind from the parts of the purification and freedom. This is we already saw earlier. That means those to be discarded or those diluted mental states. Here they translated freedom of parts of purification and freedom. And that means those virtues, wholesomes. That is here the function of clear wisdom. Clear wisdom in the sense, all those details of the what are the things to be cultivated, how, where, when, all those details, and what are the things to be discarded, eliminated. Again, all the details. Like, for example, when we talk about afflictions, 6 root afflictions, 20 secondary afflictions, and 6 root afflictions like ignorance, and many different layers of ignorance are there. So able to see that. And that is the function of clear wisdom. When you have a clear wisdom, then we are able to see all those details. So that is what this in the second wisdom is, out of the 4 wisdom. Okay, so today we'll leave it here. So we will have 2 Sundays, I think, 2 Sundays reading this text. Hopefully we will finish in 2 Sundays. We'll finish this in 2 Sundays. And then in July, we'll do a short, maybe 2 or 3 Sundays reading another short text. And then we'll have summer holiday. Okay. I feel a little bit guilty because I'm holding your holiday Sunday sunny holiday the day. Yeah. Anyway, thank you. So we will say the 21 Tara prayers. Om je je ma pama drama la cha che
Chanze Droma Nyuma Bama, Chene Geje Lodan Drama, Chiden Sumgun Chuji Shede, Kesara Chiwa Lene Joma, Chanze Donge Dawa Gundo, Kanwa Gene Zigbe Shema, Kama Donda Soba Namandi, Rabdo Chewe Rambarama, Chanze Sengu Chune Ge, Peme Chane Nabara Jema, Jimba Zundu Gado Shewa, Shaba Samden Ju Nema, Chanze Deshin Shebe Zu, Tae Nabara Jawa Chema, Malu Paru Jimba Tobe, Jawe Seki Shindu Tema, Chanze Duda Rahun Yeke, Dudan Chodan Namga Kama, Jiden Dombo Shabi Nende, Luba Meba Guba Nema, Chanze Jajin Mela Tamba, Long La Na Zo Wan Ju Chema, Chombo Rala Jesan Namada, Nujun Soji Dune Dema, Chanze Deje Chadang Pedi, Paro Chogo Rabdo Joma, Egon Yunja Shabi Nende, Mebar Choba Shindo Parama, Chanze Duri Jiba Chenpo, Duji Pao Nambara Joma, Chuji Shene Chonye Denze, Rao Tamje Malu Sema, Chanze Kunjo Sumzen Chaji, Seme Toga Nambara Jema, Malu Choji Kolo Jembe, Rangi Weji Tsanama Chema, Chanze Rabdo Gawa Jebe, Ujin Weji Tengwa Bema, Sheba Rabshi Duda Rai, Dudan Jikden Wantu Zema, Chanze Sashi Jongwe Zona, Tamje Guba Nima Nima, Tony Yewa Yige Hongi, Pongba Tamje Nambara Zoma, Chanze Dawe Dombu Ode, Yenba Tamje Shindo Parama, Rebe Tene Reba Mene, Babara Shindo Reba Sema, Chanze Gebe Tama Meda, Barwe Tengwa Une Nema, Ejan Yungu Mugune Goge, Jaye Bungne Nambara Joma, Chanze Sashi Ngala Chage, Teji Nuching Shagi Dong, Chonye Chenze Yige Honge, Remba Dumbo Namne Gema, Chanze Dema Gema Shema, Nyangen Deshin Ju Nyema, So Omda Yanda Dembe, Igba O Jomba Nyema, Chanze Kune Koraba Gawe, Aye Lune Nambara Gema, Ige Gube Ngane Gube, Rigba Hongle Drama Nyema, Chanze Dure Shamne Dabe, Honge Nambe Saben Nyema, Rera Menda Rada Beje, Jiden Sumna Yowa Nyema, Chanze Lai Soye Nambe, Rita Tajin Chana Nama, Tara Niju Peje Yege, Duna Malu Pane Sema, Chanze Lai Sonama Gebo, Tada Miam Jidema, Gune Goja Gawa Jidi, Zeda Melama Ngemba Sema, Chanze Nima Dawa Jebe, Jini Pola Verava Sema, Hara Niju Duda Rai, Shindo Tabwe Rimne Sema, Chanze Tini Sumnam Gwe, Shewe Tudang Yangdang Dema, Dudang Rona Nijun Sona, Jomba Dure Rajo Nyema, Sawe Ngati Dubdita, Chanze Wane Nishu Tsache. Gewa Di Jewo Gen, Shenama Yishe Tso Tso Shen, Shenama Yishe Le Chong Re, Tamba Kunye Tobara, Chanjo Semjo Rinpo Che, Ma Je Pana Ma Je Juro Je, Jeba Nyamba Meba, Kone Kondo Pewa Kare Rave Korve Shinkamande Penda Dewa Malu Jongwe Chere Sewa Tenzin Jaso Ye Shabe Side Bato Tenjo Che
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Geshe-la.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you indeed.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Yes,
Thank you, Geshe.
yes, thank you ever so much. Ever.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alice
Thank you.
Nwakama. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I will see you next time. And have a good day.
Yes.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.